The trail that took Lauren. It was a warm and sunny Friday morning, April 28th, 2023, in North Phoenix. The sky was clear, the air dry, and the Reach 11 trail was alive with hikers enjoying the desert beauty. Among them was Lauren Hickey, a 29-year-old woman who loved nature, early walks, and quiet mornings with coffee. That day felt like any other, until it didn't. Lauren set out from her apartment, walking the same path she had many times before, but this time she didn't return. By the next day, worry had started to build. She hadn't answered calls, she hadn't shown up for work. Friends grew uneasy, something wasn't right. Then came the discovery, April 29th. A woman walking her dog stumbled upon something in the desert brush. What she saw brought everything to a stop. It was Lauren. Her body, left in a brutal and heartbreaking state, changed everything. The peaceful trail, surrounded by cactus and sand, had become a crime scene. The horror of it was so disturbing, even hardened investigators were shaken. It didn't make sense. Lauren was kind, outgoing, and loved by everyone who knew her. Her life had been stolen, and no one knew why. This wasn't just another crime. It shattered a family, stunned a city, and left people asking questions that still don't have answers. Who had been watching Lauren? Was she alone that morning? Did someone plan this? From the silence broken by a frantic 911 call to the painful search for the person responsible, Lauren's story gripped everyone who heard it. This wasn't just about a crime, it was about a life that should have never ended that way. Lauren Hickey was more than a name. She was a daughter, a friend, a woman who lit up the world around her. Her story, though full of tragedy, reminds us how quickly everything can change, and how justice, for some, still waits in the shadows. The morning Lauren never came back. Lauren Hickey was just 29, born and raised in Kitsap County, Washington. Later, she moved to Phoenix, Arizona, a place very different from home, full of heat, sunlight, and wide desert skies. Her friends and family often described her as a burst of light. She had a warmth that made people feel seen. She was kind, funny, always smiling, the kind of energy that filled a room. She worked as an esthetician, helping others feel good in their own skin. It wasn't just about beauty, it was how she made people feel. Confident, heard. She had recently moved into a new apartment near the Reach 11 trail, a desert path that had quickly become her favorite spot. Out there, among the cacti and silence, she found peace. Lauren called her close friend River Hubble on the morning of April 28th, just like they did every day. Their talks were full of gratitude. That day, Lauren said she was thankful to be alive, to have coffee in hand, and a walk ahead of her. That call would be the last time River ever heard her voice. She had come to Phoenix to start over, a fresh chapter, full of hopes, of endless paths ahead. She didn't know one of those paths would be her last. The next morning, Saturday, April 29th, just after 10 a.m., something terrible was about to unfold. The sun was already climbing the sky. On that same trail Lauren loved, a woman was walking her dog like she had many times before. She moved along the trail near 64th Street and Mayo Boulevard, where Phoenix meets Scottsdale. It was quiet, the kind of morning that feels safe. As she reached a bend near Libby Street, something caught her eye. A shape. Still. Hidden in the brush off the main path. She froze. There, in the sand, was the body of a woman. She didn't know who it was, but she could tell this wasn't an accident. It was horrifying. She pulled out her phone and called 911, her voice shaking as she explained what she'd found. Months later, in October 2024, the Phoenix police released the 911 call. You can hear every moment, her breathing, her fear, the disbelief in her voice. She didn't know it yet, but she had just found Lauren. The 911 call that shook the silence when the woman on the trail called 911, her voice was calm but filled with fear. She told the fire dispatcher her location. It was a house in Phoenix near the desert edge. But what mattered more was what she had just seen. "There's a woman," she said. "I think she's dead." Her words hung in the air. She explained that she had seen a woman lying still in the desert behind her home, not moving, lifeless. She guessed the woman was in her mid to late 20s, maybe 30. The caller described her: black workout pants, a black sports bra, one shoe missing, and light-colored hair. She looked like someone who had just gone out for a run. Help was already on the way. The dispatcher gently asked if she could check if the woman was still breathing, but not to put herself in danger. The woman agreed and slowly walked closer. "There's no weapons, no drugs, just her," she said. When asked about visible injuries, she hesitated. "I don't know," she answered softly. Then she looked closer. "She's not breathing," she said. "I can't see her chest moving." And then something even more chilling. There was blood. It was coming from underneath Lauren's workout bra. The dispatcher asked if it looked like she had been stabbed or shot. The caller wasn't sure. "I don't know. No hole that I can see, but it looks like she's been here a while." The desert was still. The truth was starting to take shape, but no one yet understood the full horror of what had happened to Lauren Hickey on that trail. The moment everything changed. The 911 call lasted nearly 5 minutes. You could hear the fear in the woman's voice, trembling as she tried to make sense of what she had found. Her shock was raw, her voice cracking. The dispatcher reassured her. Yes, it looked like the body had been there for a while. By then, police had already started to connect the dots. Lauren hadn't been seen in over 24 hours, not since she left her apartment for her usual morning hike on April 28th. That one clue the caller gave, the blood beneath her sports bra, was enough to hint at just how brutal the attack had been. Around 10:30 a.m., police arrived on the scene. At first, they thought they might be responding to a hiker who had collapsed or fallen, common in the Arizona heat. But what they found changed everything. This wasn't heat stroke. This wasn't an accident. Lauren's body had been hidden, tangled in brush, out of sight from the main trail. She lay near a barbed wire fence. Anyone walking by wouldn't have seen her, but what couldn't be missed were the signs left behind. The area around her was disturbed, torn clothing, scattered items, clear evidence that something violent had happened. What started as a rescue quickly shifted into a crime scene. While this unfolded, Lauren's close friend River Hubble was growing more and more worried. They had a daily tradition. Every morning they'd call each other to talk about what they were thankful for. But on Friday, Lauren never answered. She didn't show up for work either, which was unlike her. By Saturday, River had called the police. His growing fear was already crossing paths with the reality unraveling on that trail. The Reach 11 Trail isn't some remote, dangerous place. It's nestled near Scottsdale Road and Mayo Boulevard, a peaceful area, surrounded by homes, where families walk their dogs and runners pass through daily. That's what made the discovery so chilling. It wasn't supposed to happen here. The woman who found Lauren lived nearby. Her husband had even seen Lauren on the trail before, giving her a wave as she passed. They didn't know her well, but they knew her face. And now, the woman was the one who made the desperate call that pulled back the curtain on something far darker. As the sun climbed over North Phoenix, the area was already changing. Flowers began to appear near the spot where Lauren's body was found. Neighbors gathered, stunned, just a short walk from beautiful homes and quiet streets. A nightmare had taken root in a place where people had always felt safe. Lauren's story was no longer just her own. It had pulled the entire community into its grief, its questions, and its search for justice. Clues in the desert news crews stood near the trail where Lauren's body was found, showing the barbed wire fence nearby. This was the same wire she may have been chased through. It was torn and sharp, cutting across the area not far from where she was discovered. The pieces were starting to fit together, and the picture wasn't pretty. But this was only the beginning. In the days that followed, more calls came in. 3 different people reached out to the police, all saying they had seen a man acting strange near the trail. He didn't look like a regular hiker. He seemed out of place, hiding, watching. His behavior stuck with people enough that they remembered it. And now that description started to matter. Sergeant James Hester, head of the Hate Crimes Unit, was now leading the investigation. His team knew they were racing against time. The community was scared. Hikers who once felt safe now thought twice about going outside. The desert no longer felt peaceful. Lauren's final conversation with her friend River took place around 10 a.m. on April 28th. That was the last time anyone heard her voice. She had gone for a hike, just like she always did, close to her new apartment. It was a place she loved, a path she knew well, but it would also become the place where her life was taken. Police now believe the attack happened that same Friday morning, between 10 and 11 a.m. It didn't happen right on the main trail. The killer had chosen a hidden spot, one not easily seen by others. That's what made this even more terrifying. He waited. He planned. He made sure no one could see. Phoenix police sent out their full forensic team. They walked through the scene inch by inch, looking for anything that could help. They gathered Lauren's belongings, including a single shoe found near the barbed wire. Her other items were scattered, more signs of a struggle. Each piece of evidence was carefully collected, sealed in bags. Every item could hold the answer to the question everyone was now asking. Who did this to Lauren Hickey, and why? The clue that changed everything. Detectives started to ask themselves a hard question. Was this murder planned, or did it just happen in a sudden burst of violence? Looking at Lauren's clothes and where her body was found, they believed she fought back. Maybe she tried to escape. Maybe she even ran toward that barbed wire fence trying to get away. But everything changed when they sent in her shoe for testing. From that single shoe, the lab pulled a DNA profile, and it wasn't Lauren's. This meant someone else had been there. It wasn't just a theory now, there was physical proof. Still, the profile alone wasn't enough. It gave the police hope, but they needed more. So they hit the streets. Officers talked to everyone they could find, hikers, locals, anyone who'd been near the Reach 11 trail in those few days. And that's when more calls started to pop up on their radar. 3 separate people had called 911, all describing the same thing. A man had been hanging around the trail days before and after the murder. He didn't look like a regular hiker. He was dressed in dark clothes, carried a backpack, and something about him just felt wrong. He stood out, even though he tried to blend in. Witnesses said he was somewhere between 5 feet 8 inches and 6 feet tall. But it still wasn't enough to find him until May 2nd. That's when investigators got a break. A nearby home had a security camera. The footage wasn't perfect, but it showed something important: a man running fast through the desert. His backpack bounced wildly as he moved. It didn't look like someone out for a jog. It looked like someone running from something. The video matched the time Lauren disappeared. Police released the footage and called the man a person of interest. That's when the tips started pouring in. People recognized him. Some said they'd seen him near the trail before. One person mentioned something chilling. They remembered the man carrying a small, sharp pocket knife. Could that knife have been used in the attack? Detectives went deeper into Lauren's life. They looked into her job, her friends, her habits. She had just moved into the apartment nearby. Had someone been watching her? Was she targeted, or was she simply in the wrong place at the wrong time? At a press conference on May 3rd, Lieutenant Hester told reporters the team was considering every possibility. But he admitted one thing: this attack felt impulsive, brutal, sudden, like someone snapped. Still, they weren't ruling anything out. The break that changed everything. The detectives weren't interested in theories anymore. They needed something real. And finally, they had it. At the lab, DNA pulled from Lauren's shoe got a hit. It matched someone already in the criminal database. Now it wasn't a mystery anymore. they had a name, a man with a record. And once they compared his photo to the figure in the surveillance video, it lined up. Young, male, local, same building, same look. But police didn't go public yet. Why? Because they didn't want him to run. The closer they got, the more careful they had to be. If he caught wind of it, he could vanish. By May 3rd, the pressure was rising. Lauren's parents, Jeff and Lana, stood next to police at a press conference. With tears in her eyes, Lana begged the public for help. "She was my little girl," she said. Her voice cracked. And that plea worked. Tips started coming in fast. One caller said there was a man living near the trail, less than a mile away, who gave off a scary vibe. Another said he got fired for making female co-workers uncomfortable. Bit by bit, the image got clearer. It wasn't just rumors anymore, it was a real person, a dangerous one. And then came the twist. On May 4th, a probation officer reached out. He had a client who matched the man in the video, same build, same movements, same area. The man was already on probation for robbery and disorderly conduct. He lived in Scottsdale, not far from Reach 11. The officer added something else. He had been fired from a job for being aggressive toward women. That was it. Alarm bells went off. Police got his full file and ran the DNA again. It matched. This was their guy. But they didn't rush in. Not yet. They followed him, watched him, and then they saw he had a plane ticket to Detroit. He was planning to leave. That sealed it. Co-workers confirmed his identity. "Yeah, that's him," they said, pointing at the blurry video. Now it wasn't just DNA or descriptions, it was everything stacking up. By Thursday night, May 4th, they were ready. In less than a week, they had gone from nothing to knowing everything. Now, all that was left was to take him down, and that's exactly what happened next. The arrest, and with it came the truth. The arrest, Zion William Teasley. Let's break it down. It's late Thursday night, just 6 days since Lauren's body was found hidden off the Reach 11 trail. Police are ready. They've been watching 22-year-old Zion William Teasley for days now. Every move he makes, every step he takes. Quiet surveillance, no mistakes. His apartment, less than a mile from where Lauren was last seen alive. That matters. Because everything's pointing to him. DNA on her shoe, a blurry video of a man running through the desert, witness reports of a guy with a backpack. And the scariest part? Zion doesn't even know the noose is tightening around him. Here's the twist. He's been on probation since 2018 for armed robbery and disorderly conduct. He was only 17 years old then. His own probation officer recognized him from the news and told the police. That changed everything. But what sealed the case? That DNA match. His profile was already in the system. Then came the final confirmation. Co-workers who saw him running that day confirmed it. That's him, they told investigators. No more guessing. They also found a plane ticket in his name. Destination, Detroit. Departure, May 5th. If police had waited one more day, he might have slipped away. Who is Zion Teasley? At first, people thought he had a military past. He enlisted in the Marines, but never finished boot camp. The official record says Zion Teasley began recruit training at Marine Corps Recruit Depot San Diego on March 25, 2019. He was separated on June 17, 2019, prior to completing training. The military won't say more, citing privacy laws, but Phoenix police didn't wait around. May 4th, 6:30 p.m. They move in. A full takedown team surrounds his apartment. Body cam footage shows officers pounding on the door, shouting, "Phoenix police, open up!" Zion walks out, hands in the air. No chase, no fight. They cuff him right there. Calm, fast, clean. 10 minutes flat and it's over. The man at the center of this brutal case is finally in custody. But who is Zion William Teasley, really? Because one thing's clear, he wasn't just out for a hike. Who he really was. Zion Teasley was born in Scottsdale in 2000. He grew up here. Locals say he rapped since he was a kid, but music wasn't the path he followed. In 2018, Zion and two friends set up a fake robbery outside a Jack in the Box. Zion pointed a gun at the others and demanded money. It was staged, but still criminal. He took a plea deal, no prison, just probation. Everyone thought it was a second chance, but instead of turning things around, he bounced between minimum wage jobs, fast food chains, and retail stores, never staying long, always walking out or getting fired. And the pattern? It was dark. Former co-workers, mostly women, told police he made them feel unsafe. At Primo's, a manager fired him in 2022 after he lost control and hit a female co-worker, called him unstable. That incident stuck out, and it wasn't just words anymore. During a search of his apartment, police found a small, sharp knife, the kind that could match Lauren's wounds. They also collected his clothes and the backpack from the surveillance footage. Everything lined up. On May 5th, Phoenix police booked him into Maricopa County Jail. The charges: first-degree murder, robbery, tampering with evidence. They believe he didn't just kill Lauren, he also stole from her. When questioned, Zion shut down. At first, he played dumb, said he wasn't anywhere near Reach 11 that day. But the DNA, the video, and the witness tips said otherwise. Neighbors remembered him pacing near the trail, acting jumpy. One hiker even saw him arguing with someone. Police now believe Zion may have scoped out the trail the day before, April 27th. A planned attack? Maybe. A random opportunity? Possibly. Either way, Lauren didn't know him. By May 6th, Lieutenant James Hester faced the press. "We think this was an act of violence with no prior connection between the suspect and victim." Jeff and Lana, Lauren's parents, stood behind him, hearts breaking but voices steady. Jeff said quietly, "It's because of all of you, we got him." But even with the arrest, it's not over. Zion Teasley remains in custody, a man whose past was filled with missed chances and red flags, a man who now waits for his trial. And Lauren Hakey, a daughter, a friend, a 29-year-old just out for a morning hike, is the reason her community stood up. Her case moves forward. Her murder trial is set for October 28, 2025, in Maricopa County Superior Court. Why the wait? There's a lot at stake. The DNA from Lauren's shoe, the surveillance footage of a man sprinting through the desert, and the silent witness tips. They all point to Zion Teasley. But this isn't open and shut. His defense team is dissecting everything: cell phone data, GPS history, the pocket knife found in his apartment. They're looking for cracks, and that takes time. By May 2023, Phoenix police still believed the attack was random. They'd never met, Lieutenant Hester said. It was an accident. But by December 2023, things changed. Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell filed a notice of intent to seek the death penalty. That raised the pressure and the timeline. Lauren's family, speaking through Arizona Voice for Crime Victims, responded simply, "We'll be there every step of the way to make sure Lauren gets justice." The death penalty means longer prep, more legal scrutiny, and often more delays. And Zion's legal problems don't end with Lauren's case. In July 2024, prosecutors added charges tied to a 2020 knife attack. This time, the victim survived. Then, in February 2025, 10 counts of misconduct with minors were filed for events from 2019 to 2020. Those charges were later dropped, but they painted a troubling picture. Zion's history: armed robbery in 2018, probation violations, violence against women. Now, murder and tampering charges. He's currently held without bond after violating probation. There is a mountain of evidence. DNA video surveillance co-workers identifying him, a pattern of violence. Still, the trial won't begin until October 28, 2025, in Maricopa County Superior Court, unless there's another delay. And through it all, Lauren's parents, Jeff and Lana, are still waiting. 2 birthdays, 2 Christmases, no Lauren. Only silence and the hope that justice will come. That's it for today's True Crime Deep Dive. If you found this case thought-provoking, disturbing, or eye-opening, take a second to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay up to date with every twist in the road. Have thoughts? Drop them in the comments. Until next time, stay safe, stay smart, and keep seeking the truth.